Hello, it's Wallissimo. Back in August, I set up an author's journal so I could have a single location to hold all my handwritten notes about any writing project or whim I had. It has served me really well, and I think it's a great place to keep all of my ideas. I do still have quite a few blank pages left throughout the journal, and I'll continue to use it for any new ideas I have. But I've run out of room specifically in the section dedicated to Project Existential Crisis. Since I'm going to be prioritizing Project EC in 2021, I knew it was time to say goodbye, for now, to this journal. As luck would have it, one of my sisters gifted me a beautiful dot grid notebook for Christmas, and I think it will be the perfect project journal for Project EC. It's nice and thin, so I can stick it in my purse, but it still has nearly 100 pages, which I think should be an ample amount of room. The sides of the pages are beautifully gilded, and since astronomy plays a significant role in this story, I think the galaxy design on the front is perfect. Now it's time for the setup. I picked out some washi tape I felt matched the aesthetic of this project, and I also grabbed an ink pad and my alphabet stamps. I used these for my Project EC section in my other author journal, and I wanted to keep that style in this new notebook as well. The first thing I did in the journal itself was number all the pages. Well, okay, I actually only numbered the odd pages in order to save time, but we're just gonna ignore that. As I was numbering, I thought over what sort of spreads I wanted to have in the journal, and I tried to keep a mental list. Then I put all of those spread ideas on sticky notes. Then I flipped through and stuck the stickies wherever I thought was the best location for that specific spread. I think this was a good way of staying organized. I could easily move a sticky if I decided I didn't like the original location. And doing it this way helped me to not forget any important pages. I wanted to set the journal up in a front to back order, so I started with the title page. I originally was going to have this be a very simple page, but as you see, I quickly changed my mind on that front. I was going to have the actual title of Project EC inside that circle, but instead I decided to recreate the diagram I had in my other author journal. It's an astronomical diagram of the Earth, Sun, and Moon, and it is related to several important events in the story. And it's also related to the actual title of this project. And of course, I had to make a little note that this astronomical diagram was not to scale. Next, I created an index page, so in the future I can easily reference where certain spreads are in this notebook. Then I labeled a single page as a goals page, so I can write down what my long-term goals with this project are. And then next to that page, I put a tracker spread. I have one of these in my other journal, and I just sort of autopilot put this in here, but I quickly realized that I'm still going to use my other journal to track daily writing habits, so instead I decided I'm going to use this as an hourly tracker. For every hour I write, I'll color in a square starting from the middle, and it will spiral outwards. And my hope is as I write more, it will create this really beautiful spiral effect. Then comes the year at a glance. I wanted to have a page where I could have an overview of the next 6 months and write down any important dates or deadlines, so I created this spread. It's inspired by one I saw AmandaRachLee make in 2019. I've linked her channel below. She makes some of the best bullet journal spreads, in my opinion. Each month has a little month at a glance, a place to write down important events, that's the blank spot in the middle, and a little section for notes or goals or just miscellaneous things. Then I created 12 spreads, each dedicated to a single month. I like the idea of having a place I can immediately flip to in this journal, depending on what month it is, where I can see what things I need to do for this story. I also added a little focus box at the top of each page where I can write what my main focus should be. For example, if I had this spread in December, I would have written synopsis in the focus box because last month was all about my struggle to write a decent synopsis for this project. Each month also has an entire blank page in its spread, just in case I come up with other section ideas or I need a place to put notes that are time sensitive. Then I dedicated 8 pages to meeting notes. I have someone giving me feedback on this story, and every so often we have a Zoom call. And I wanted a place where I could keep all my notes from those calls. I only decorated the first page because I don't want to commit to a format I might not end up liking. But for now, I have a little section where I write the topic and date of the meeting. I have a section for a list of questions I want to ask. There's a little section for a to-do list and a section labeled "Don't forget," just in case there's anything really important discussed. After the meeting notes, I have a similar titles tracking page. I've heard a part of the querying and submission process is being able to compare your story to ones that have already been published, so I wanted a page in here where I could keep a list of books I felt had similar aesthetics to mine. Now, moving away from meta level things and more into inspiration and story related spreads, I have a map of campus spread where I intend to draw a map of the boarding school in my story. I have an old one I drew a few years ago, but it's a little tattered now and I wanted an updated drawing for record keeping purposes. I then have 6 pages for inspiration. These are the pages where I want to collect random quotes I come up with that I think are nice and I want to fit into the story somehow. Right now, I keep these notes on my computer, my phone, random scraps of paper on my desk, and I would just like to have a centralized place so I don't forget about any of them. And the final and largest section is the brain dump section. There are about 30 pages in this section. I intend to fill these pages up with doodles and random thoughts, diary entries about exciting or tough days, and just random bits of randomness that I couldn't think to make a spread for. Once everything was inked in, I went through to add more bits of washi tape and erase any pencil marks. And I also just wanted to give it one last look over before giving it a seal of approval. I am really happy with these spreads. I wanted to keep everything really clean and simple and functional while still finding places to play around with my story's aesthetic. And I think I managed to do that. I'm really excited to get into this journal and fill out my goals, start tracking my work, and just filling it up with incoherent scribbles. I'm sure I'll do a flip through of this journal at some point once it's all filled up, and I think it will be fun to compare how it looks now, when it's barely touched, to how it will look once it's truly been infested with my destructive creative energy. Let me know if you make author journals at all, and if you do, how you format them. Do you have one singular journal, or do you have a notebook for each different story? Comment down below so I can gather some inspiration from you. And as always, go be happy, go be healthy, and go write.